Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Relationship Rescue Summit. And today I am thrilled to offer you the glorious and amazing and just absolutely beautiful soul, Tanya English. We are talking about just that, relationships. And we tend to think relationship with a partner, which automatically that's where our mind goes. But we have so many relationships throughout our life. We have friends, we have coworkers, relatives, we have strangers that come in and out of our life throughout our day, and children. So we have so many relationships, and there are so many things that we would never even think of as having an effect on our relationships. So Tanya is going to speak with us today about something that I think is very, very important, especially because having had different opportunities in my own life of needing this and moving through. And I'm blessed to say that Tanya has helped me on occasions. So she is wonderful at what she does. Tanya, thank you so much for being a part of the Relationship Rescue Summit.
Well, you're so welcome, and thank you for having me, Kathleen. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. And would you begin by telling us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Tanya English. I've been in practice of healing for over 30 years. I started as a massage therapist and then went to chiropractic college and started practice in 1994. As I was going through practice, I kept asking, show me more ways of doing healing that are easy and simple, because my actual mentor has been following Jesus in this. And so I thought, he didn't do a lot of technique. So show me how he did it, because it says in that book that I could do everything that he does if I believe. So I said, show me that stuff. I want to see that. So I learned lots of different techniques that are non-invasive, non-forceful techniques. And so in 2014, I started doing energy healing with people online and over the phone all over the world. So I've worked with people in South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, Europe, anywhere that people can get online, they can work with me. And it's really nice because that connection really does speak to how spirit is everywhere.
Yes, absolutely.
It's really fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, your title today of your presentation, your teaching, your guidance is the Universal Solvent Forgiveness.
Mm.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, sure. I mean, forgiveness is the thing that is the most freeing for allowing you to move into a new part of your life. When you practice forgiveness, and we're all called to forgive, if you believe, and I'm not trying to change anybody's religion or anything here, that's not what this is about. This is about what love is, and it is in concert with forgiveness, because you can't hold a grudge and love at the same time. You can either walk in love or you can walk in fear. You can't do both. So with forgiveness, when you're withholding it, it's like, what did they say? Taking poison and expecting the other person to suffer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It locks you into a shame, blame, guilt cycle. And it keeps you punishing yourself for the mistakes that someone else has made or that you've made. But you're human. You're going to make mistakes. We're mistake makers. That's what we do. And that's how we learn.
Yes, exactly.
And it's part of growing to learn. My motto is ABL, not ABC, ABL, always be learning. Because if you're not learning, then you're stuck in your stuff. And it's really important for us to remember that learning to love yourself means forgiveness. And it's not just for somebody else, it's forgiveness for yourself. I'll give you an example. I was talking to a colleague one day, and a coworker came in, and she introduced me. This is Tanya English. She's my chiropractor. And she said, oh gosh, I haven't been to the chiropractor in ages. And I said, oh really, why? And she said, well, I missed my last 2 appointments. And I said, well, why are you holding a grudge about that? And she said, I'm not holding a grudge against them. And I said, no, you're holding a grudge against yourself, because you won't allow yourself to forgive yourself for missing your appointments. And so you're not showing up for your healing. And she went, oh my gosh, you're right. I am holding a grudge against myself. Oh, I feel so much better. Now I'm ready to make an appointment. See, just pointing out that she was punishing herself for missing her appointments. Hey, I've missed lots of appointments in my life. I had a chiropractor that worked in the next town that I was seeing, and I missed an appointment 3 times in a row. And I said, what is going on with me that I'm missing this appointment? He said, it's something that's happening and you need to be ready to move on. That's all. It's not holding grudges about these things is so important to remember that you're hurting yourself doing that.
And I never
Not the
looked
other
at it.
person. He's
I
seeing
never looked
another
at it as,
patient. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you just have me thinking there. I've never looked at it as holding a grudge against myself.
People will punish themselves a lot. Oh, I made
Yes,
this
just that
mistake.
word is aha, it makes you think.
Yeah. So what happens is people hold that grudge against themselves. I will, and then there's grudges that you hold against other people. This person did wrong. It was a terrible thing that they did. It was awful. I'll never forgive them. People say that. Oh, you hear that on soap operas a lot because it's very dramatic. I'll never forgive them for that. Well, you know what? That you can't forget. You can't forgive and forget, because if you try to forget, then you have to remember what it is that you're supposed to forget. Can't
This
do
is
it.
true. That's true.
So it's not about forgetting things. It's not about saying it didn't happen. It's not at all about turning it into something that's not there. What it is expanding your awareness, expanding your definition of love, so that you can see, what did this bring me? What can I learn from this experience? How can I walk in forgiveness about this? So now I'll tell you how this happened for me in a
Please.
big way. So remember, I mentioned that I went to chiropractic college and I started practice in 1994. And right before I started practice, I was finishing up chiropractic college in the spring, and I was pregnant, and my baby was stillborn. Now, if you don't think that there's a problem there, I was a healer and I couldn't deliver my baby. I had to think about, like, what in the world happened? And people wanted me to blame other people for what happened. And there's been layers and layers of forgiveness through this, because people will tell you it's the worst thing that can ever happen to you. And, you know, losing a child, yeah, it's pretty bad. But when you have something that's that tragic in your life, my thought was, I better pay attention to how I'm reacting to this, because that's going to tell the tale of how I move on in my life.
That's huge.
Most people don't think like that. They want to blame, and people around me wanted to do that, and I was not up for blaming. I said, no, people die. People are going to die. We're all going to die.
Yes, we are.
And we had to explain this to a 5 and a 6-year-old who were waiting for their new baby brother to be born. And what we told them is what I tell everybody: nobody's getting out alive here. We all are going to go through this. So how bad can it be if we all do it? Everybody. And it's just another doorway that we walk through. So if that's the case, is there sadness? Of course there's sadness. Is there grief? Yes, I work with people in grief all the time. But we're not supposed to pitch a tent and live in the valley of the shadow of death. We're supposed to go out the other end, skipping and singing a tune.
Yes.
Because that deep well of grief and tragedy is also a deep well of blessings that can come out of that. But you got to look for those. So seek and you'll find. Seek and you'll find. What are you seeking? Are you seeking who to blame? Are you seeking, where's the joy in this situation? Where can I find joy in this situation? We found a lot of joy. It's very interesting because people tend to want to stick on the sadness and the tragedy of it all. And my husband and I aren't those kind of people. But the kind of people we are is we're going to look for the joy. Where's the love? Where's the bliss? Where's the lesson? what am I gaining through this? Because God doesn't take away, he adds to us. If you want to think of him as a he, that's fine. I usually use very generic terms like source energy.
Well, I'm a universe girl, so.
Yeah. So source energy is all about us expanding and bringing more love into our life. And there's love in every single cell, molecule, and atom, and all the space in between. So what are you looking for? If you are feeling like something was done to you by another person, I've had this happen too, very tragic situation, and it's hard to get into their head to figure out how could they do this, because I could never do that. That's a dead end. You don't want to go there. What you want to do is look at the big picture. How can this add to me? Ask the questions. How can this add to me? What can I learn from this? What am I learning from this situation? And what are the blessings that can come out of this? These are questions to ask.
Mhm.
These are the questions. How much more love can I feel in my life? How much more joy? How much more peace? How many more blessings can I receive in my life if I open my heart to forgiveness? So let's talk about the 4 steps of forgiveness. The first step is to identify the situation, the action, the person involved. Usually it's somebody, if it's another person, it's somebody that's held in high esteem because they've done something that has completely obliterated that. So you have to be aware of that situation. Then you have to acknowledge that it occurred. You can't keep brushing it under the rug. So I was listening to a story the other day about Katharine Hepburn.
Mm.
There's a Netflix documentary. She had a brother that died. He committed suicide. And you know what they did? They never talked about it. They never talked about him. They pretended it didn't happen. And it ruined lives when they did that.
Yeah.
So you have to acknowledge that this occurred. You have to be aware before you can change things. And like I said, trying to forget something pushes it into the subconscious where it festers and it causes problems. Because every feeling that you push down and push away that you don't want to feel is going to come out in some other way. And it's not going to be pleasant.
I
And
can
it's
vouch for that.
this is the cause of disease.
Yes.
First, it's dis-ease. And then when it's left alone and not dealt with, it becomes a disease.
Exactly.
So now you have to have all of that before you do these 4 steps. First step is self-forgiveness. You have to forgive yourself for allowing the event to affect you negatively. You have to have this thought, I forgive myself for allowing so-and-so to affect my health. Yeah, I'm feeling like I need to tap on this. We're going to tap on all of these too, by the way.
Yes,
So
I know you
if
said
you
we were
haven't
going to do
learned
something special today.
if you haven't learned emotional freedom technique, you're going to learn a little bit of it today. So I want you to all do this with me when we get to that part. Then you're going to forgive the other person. Then you're going to actually be thankful for the lesson. So you got to decide what the lesson is. Okay, so now let's do this together. Okay, this will be fun. Don't worry. You'll come out feeling better than you did going in. So I want you to think of a time when something happened, somebody did something, and like anybody who's had any kind of physical abuse in any way, emotional abuse, this is you, okay? This is what we're talking about here. This is deep stuff. So I want you to think of that time. And Kathleen's going to kind of stand in for you today. So Kathleen, on a scale of 0 to 10, 10's like, I can barely think about this without crying and being upset. And 0 being, yeah, no big deal. Where do you feel like this incident that you have, when you come up with it, where do you feel like you're at with it?
This one particular that comes to mind right now, I would give it a 7.
Okay. So 7 means that she's like closer to, I can't think about this without being upset. than she is to, yeah, it's no big deal. When we're done with this, you're going to see what happens for her. So what are some of the feeling words that you have about this situation? I'm going to write them down here.
Unsafe.
Unsafe. Okay.
So afraid.
Afraid.
Disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Angry.
That was just going to say there's some anger.
Anger. Yes. Anything else? Are you blaming? Any blame? Shame?
No, because
Okay.
I understand where it came from.
Okay, so when you're saying you understand it now, because you've done healing on this,
Mhm.
otherwise she wouldn't even say that, by the way. She's done healing on this, I know. But there was a time when blame was there
Oh, it was a 12 or 15 before.
and shame was there too. Like, how could I let this happen to me? That's a way that we shame ourselves. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to tap on this. So I want you to tap on your eyebrow, 2 fingers, tap on either or one right on your eyebrow. So all of this unsafe feeling, you can say that after me. All of this unsafe feeling.
All of this unsafe feeling.
Go to the side of your eye. All of this fear.
All of this fear.
Under the eye. All of this disappointment.
All of this disappointment.
All of this anger.
All of this anger.
I really feel it.
I really feel it.
And I am so tired of this.
And I am so tired of this.
It's hurting me to think about it.
It's hurting me to think about it.
And right up under your arm, way up high. And I want to let this go.
And I want to let this go.
Top of the head, but I can't let it go.
But I can't let it go.
In fact, I won't let it go.
I won't let it go.
You can't make me let it go.
You can't make me let it go.
And I'm going to hold on to this.
And I'm going to hold on to this.
Forever and ever.
Forever and ever.
Because it was so wrong.
Because it was so wrong.
And I'm still really angry about it.
And I'm still really angry about it.
And I'm right to be angry about it.
And I'm right to be angry about it.
I am totally right to be angry about it.
I am totally right to be angry about it.
Because this was a terrible thing.
This was a terrible thing.
Okay, now I want you to take a breath. And just feel where you're at now. We're not done yet, don't worry. Where do you feel like you're at now? You were at a 7. Where do you feel like you're at now?
We have 5.
Okay, so just come down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go here again. All of this anger.
All of this anger.
All of this disappointment.
All of this disappointment.
All of this fear.
All of this fear.
I'm getting some regret too, maybe. All of this regret.
All of this regret.
That I was even in a place where this could happen, right? Some of you may have regret about making a bad choice, and that's okay. And all of this feeling unsafe.
And all this feeling unsafe.
These are my feelings.
These are my feelings.
And I acknowledge my feelings.
And I acknowledge my feelings.
I own my feelings.
I own my feelings.
I honor my feelings.
I honor my feelings.
Take a deep breath. What does it feel like now? Any change?
I put it into words, it's almost like I can't see it.
It's like fuzzy.
Yes.
Like I can't quite get to it. This is good. This
I'm
is
like, I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to, so I don't have to, because I can't get there. I can't go there. It's like your brain now has gone, yeah, we don't need to work on that anymore, right? Because you can't even bring it into focus.
That's a good way to put it. Right.
Where before it was like sharp and right there. Okay, so now we're going to do this positive part. Okay. So that was all acknowledging the feelings that you're having about the situation. Top of the head. I forgive myself.
I forgive myself.
For allowing this.
For allowing this.
To affect me negatively.
To affect me negatively.
I forgive the others involved.
I forgive the others involved.
I learned so much.
I did learn so much.
That doesn't mean it was right,
Doesn't mean it was right,
but that's how I learned it. So I'm okay.
but that's how I learned it, so I'm okay.
I give them permission to forgive me.
I give them permission to forgive me.
What if my energy had drawn them in to be able to do something like this to me?
What if
So who knows? Lifetimes, generations. I'm giving them permission to forgive me if I caused any harm anytime ever. And then I'm thankful for the lesson,
I'm thankful for the lesson,
and I wish them well.
and I do wish them well.
And this is real.
This is very real.
I'm letting it go.
I'm letting it go.
I don't need this anymore.
I don't need this anymore.
And if I need to go back to it to release more,
If I need to go back to release more,
that's okay.
it is okay.
I love me.
I love me.
I forgive me.
I forgive me.
And I allow myself to move forward easily and effortlessly.
And I allow myself to move forward easily and effortlessly.
Yeah. Take a deep breath. So if you're tapping along with us, how do you feel? How do you feel now, Kathleen, about that situation that was a 7?
I would say between a 2 and a 3.
Good. So what's still there that's keeping you at that? What feelings are you having that's keeping you there?
I don't know.
Well, think about it for a minute.
I don't know.
There's something that's keeping you at a 2 or a 3. Like if I forget about this, then it's done. I mean, like, I don't mean forget that it happened, but I mean, if I let this go, sometimes it's doubt that this works. That's what people think.
No, I've done enough energy
know
work.
that it
I
works.
love energy work.
But some of you might
It's-
have that feeling like, I doubt this will work.
Yeah.
I doubt this will work. What do you think it is that's keeping you at a 2 or a 3?
Let me flip this back to a question.
Sure.
I'm here and now, but there's also the little girl.
Right.
So I would say it's the little girl that is at the 2 or 3.
So that's perfect, because what you're doing is you're acknowledging that she needs to do this too.
Yes.
So let's tell her, you're safe.
You're safe.
I've got this.
I've got this.
You don't need to worry about it anymore.
You don't need to worry about it anymore.
It's never going to happen again,
It's never going to happen again
because I'm right here,
because I'm right here
and I won't let anyone hurt you
and I won't let anyone hurt you
ever again.
ever again.
And it's okay.
And it's okay.
I've got this.
I've got this.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I hear you.
I hear you.
I'm with you.
I'm with you.
And I love you so much.
And I love you so much.
Take a deep breath. How does that feel now?
Lots of love. Lots of love.
Are you lower than a 2 or a 3 now?
I'd say 1 or 2.
Okay, so here's what happens when somebody says this to me. I'm like, we're going deeper. We're not going to do that today, because I would do a whole nother modality with Kathleen to help her release this so she's at a 0 with it, because we want to get you down to 0. Yep, no big deal. I got what I needed from this situation. So I might use theta healing, which is like prayer on steroids. I might use bioenergetic synchronization technique. That's a subconscious emotional healing technique where I have the person lying down. We're not going to do that because that's not the situation that we're in today. And we tapped on some of the points. Some of you may know emotional freedom technique, and you know there's more points, but these are the ones that we can show you easily in this mode in Zoom. But feel that lightness that you feel now that went from 7 to a 2. It's quite different.
And lightness is an excellent way to describe it. Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes when I'm working with people and I do like 2 or 3 different modalities, they feel a little bit dizzy when they sit up. And the reason why they feel dizzy is because we're changing their physiology.
Yeah.
What she just did, what Kathleen just did, and I just did with the tapping, takes you from fight or flight response to rest, digest, and heal. And it does it every single time. So
And
whenever
you can
you do
just
that,
feel that. You can feel your whole body just.
yeah, I was getting goosebumps, and like that's when Source tells me you're on the right track. I get goosebumps. Ooh, okay, good. I'm on the right track. So
Go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So it's just, you're gonna feel different. So just know that when you do this, and you can tap, you can watch this again, I guess, aren't we? They're gonna be able to
Yes.
watch it more than once.
Yes.
So watch it and stick your own words in there. You don't have to use the words we used. You can use your own words. The most important thing is though, that you acknowledge, own, and honor your feelings. That's the most important part.
Amen to that.
You were going to say something. Sorry.
Yes, because ultimately my goal, my intention, all of our intentions with this summit is to bring all of our experience and our teachings to the relationships. And I know personally, and I have no problem sharing, because I think when we tell our story, it helps someone else have the courage to tell theirs, and it's just that ripple effect. But I know I spent so much of my life reacting and being defensive and having that feeling of having to protect myself. And that affected my relationship with myself, because I wasn't even feeling safe within myself, but then carried over to all of my relationships. So how, from your perspective and your expertise in what you do, how can people understand that this is not just affecting them, but how it bleeds over into every relationship?
Okay. This is a good question. I just put in the chat a class that I'm teaching next week, which you can make available to everybody. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about your energy. Where does your energy end? 3 feet from your body? 6 feet? It
I
doesn't.
think it's expansive.
Yes, it doesn't end.
Infinity. Yeah.
So when we're talking about this, we're talking about energy that you're basically walking around in this kind of bubble that has no edge to it. Okay, so think of yourself as a cloud. Here's this cloud of energy, and the more and more dense the cloud becomes, that's your physical form. So you're this energy cloud, and here I am. I'm very dense right here. You can see me. What's in your field of energy isn't, let me say this. You think that your mind is in here, but it's actually in the field as well. So you walk into a situation and you have it in your energy field that people treat me like crap, or nobody listens to me. You might have had that experience as you're growing up. People don't listen to me. I was the second born. I was always driving for attention, doing magic tricks in my high chair. Look, ta-da. So like wanting that attention. So it's in my field. I want that attention. And I go into every relationship with that need that's there. This is something I've been working on recently too, because the more you need, the more it repels people from you.
It's like, how it works.
It's like you're trying to reach for a pool noodle in the pool, and every time you reach for it, it pushes it further away. So you have this energy in your field, and it's going to affect every single relationship that you have, because every relationship that you have is you trying to get your need met. So that's why we say, you don't complete me. I'm already complete. Thank you very much. I'm 100%, you're 100%, together we're 1,000%, or whatever we decide. Mm-hmm. It's not, and yes, you know, in relationships, there are places where I'm weaker and my husband's stronger. There's places where we fill in gaps for each other. There's also places where we butt heads too. That's relationships. That's what it is. We call our relationship ebb and flow. He's ebb, I'm flow.
You know, that's one of my favorite sayings.
Yeah, watch for the podcast coming out soon. Ebb and flow. And we'll talk about how you stay married for 30 years through a blended family and all kinds of stuff.
I'm sure it'll be very interesting.
Yeah. But it's so amazing that we have this cloud that we're in, and we take it with us wherever we go.
Yes.
And until we deal with the stuff that's stuck in that cloud. And some people, when I'm doing an intuitive energy scan where I'm reading somebody's energy, I'm using the chakra system. That banner right there is the chakras. I'm using that chakra system to look at their energy to see where they stuck. Where's the stuff coming up that they're complaining about? Not that complaining is bad. I mean, just like their major complaint, your chief complaint. Is it spiritual? Is it physical? Is it mental? Is it emotional? Where in their health is this showing up? Where in their chakra system is it showing up? And how can we dissipate it? Not exit out. Like some people used to do this thing where if they said something that was negative, they go cancel, cancel, cancel. Well, that's pretty negative too, isn't it?
I would think so, yes.
So instead of doing that, I know there's people that have done this.
Well, you're trying to block the lesson as well. Just
You got it, Kathleen.
Baby with the bathwater. Just throw it
so
out.
smart. She's so smart. You should listen to her. So what happens is people don't deal with their own stuff. It's sort of like the woman that says, well, I got divorced because, I was treated badly. And I was working with somebody who's told me, well, if that ever happens again, I'll just get rid of him. I said, you're missing the point here.
Yeah.
Let's change you to the point where you would never attract somebody like that into your life. How about that? She's like, oh, yes, this is what we're talking about.
Yes.
Change your energy. And it doesn't have to be big. We just did it right now. We changed that. That wasn't hard to do. That was simple and easy.
And safe.
Jesus may have tapped on people. We don't know. He may have said, you're healed. Oh, go figure. He's hitting them in the third eye. What the heck? I mean, we don't know, but all I'm saying is there's all these simple ways to do healing. And my message to people is healing is always available. It's simple. It's easy. You just have to do it. You just have to let yourself open up to do it.
This is true. And it not only opens up, I'll use me, all the energy work I've done and the healing I've done on myself. It opens up my whole world, because now with so much of that stuff just shed, it's enhanced all of my relationships.
Absolutely, it does.
Absolutely. It's so freeing. It just is so freeing. And it's just so fun.
Yes.
And the amount of joy that I now let into my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too, like everybody talks about, it's so divisive right now and things are so split. That's what happens right before a breakthrough.
This is true.
So
Even in business. Yes.
This is why Kathleen and I do the work that we do, because we're ready for people to make that leap. We have all the technology in place. We're using it, just like right now we're using it. Let's get our spiritual level up to that too, because that's when the world will really change. And how do you do that? One person at a time, groups of people, if you can get them together. You start to really let yourself be loving yourself fully.
Yes.
Even the icky parts.
And the icky parts, I've learned the icky parts of me are lovable too.
Absolutely.
They just absolutely are. And I think that's the same with anyone.
I just want to share one thing with people.
Please.
I'm going to put this postcard. This is something I send all my clients, and you probably have one of these too. This is a little postcard I send, and it says, you're a divine expression of love. This is what you are.
This is true. It's exactly true.
This is you. This is your higher self. You're connected heart to heart, and your higher self is beaming this out and also transmitting and receiving. So this brain right here, this is a transmitter and receiver. When you dial things in, so there's not a lot of static, you can receive from source whatever it is you need.
Exactly.
don't have to wait for it. It's kind of like the Matrix. You could just plug it in.
And you have to be willing to listen and see and feel.
Dial
hear.
down that
Yes.
noise, that background
Yes.
noise that fills people's lives with busyness and upset. You have to know how to do that. And that's why doing meditation is important and things like that that help you. Prayer is very important. All of those things that help you dial that noise down. You see my name there, it says Soul Chiropractor, because chiropractors remove interference from the nervous system. And what we're doing is removing interference emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. When you
Exactly.
remove interference, and that doesn't mean like you're taking something away, it just means that you're dissolving it and you're transmuting it into different energy, just like we did today.
And you have to remember it's a whole. You can't just work on the physical and not the brain, the
The
mental.
four-legged
You
chair.
get all of it. Yes.
If you don't work on one of those, it's a very unstable chair.
Yes,
So physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual.
exactly. So is there a last bit of something joyous you'd like to share?
Oh, yeah, I would love to tell you that you can learn all of this and more when we do the class next Wednesday, June 7th at 7 p.m. Central Time. It's called the Chakra Problem Solver class. I believe that Kathleen's going to give you the link to it. It's a free class. I would
Well,
love
I
for you to
will
take it.
stop you right there for just one moment. Is
Okay.
that something they can access on a replay? Because the summit doesn't launch until after
Yeah,
that.
that's right. After that. So
Yes.
they can still come and they could send me a note and say, hey, I want that class.
Okay.
All you have to do is you have to send me your email so I can send it to you.
Okay.
So
We
you
will
just
make
go to
sure we
that. So
have
that'll
that.
be fun.
We'll have that
Um,
available.
Also, the forgiveness exercise that we did today, that's on a sheet on my website, Quantum Healing International. It's on the resource page. It's free. You can go download it there. You can download the tapping points. You can download a script for tapping points, all at that page, and that's all free.
We'll have
It's
that available for everyone
all
as
ready
well.
for you.
Tanya, you know, every time we get together, it is always just such a blessing and so much fun, and just it makes my heart full. So I can't thank you enough. And I want to thank everyone for joining us, and please stay tuned. We have more in the Relationship Rescue Summit, and you'll be able to contact any and all of the speakers and also myself for any additional and added information that you might like. Tanya, thank you so much.
Thank
Peace and
you,
blessings.
Kathleen, for including me. I so appreciate it, and I'm very honored. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.